I'm Corey Murray, Entertainment Director at Essence, and it's my second time seeing Blindspotting, but how did y'all like it? Hella good. Hella, but we're gonna ask about this. We have the cast and writers of Blindspotting tonight, Rafael Casal and David. We have an extra seat. Jasmine Cephas Jones is on her way here. So first, since I said Hella, tell me about Hella. Hella. What's the origin?
Etymology of Hella? Well, it really depends on who you ask, but it's indigenous to the Bay Area. Fuck what you heard. And the interesting thing about that is it's become so ubiquitous. People all over the world use it. No one wants to give credit where credit is due. So.
I feel like Easter egg, kind of took it.
Easter egg took it? Oh, it's on her billboard.
Yeah, like Helen.
That's alright. She's alright. We're very generous with our language. We just, as long as you know that you steal shit, it's cool. You have it. It's for free. It's free enough. Just know where you got it.
So can Rafael, I spoke to you about this the other day, but can you tell me about the origin of the Blindspotting as the title of the movie?
I think they all get it now.
True.
Yeah, I mean,
But it was called something else though.
Yeah, I mean, it was the film. When we had a lot of working time. We were working on this shit for 10 years, people. It was originally called Running Down. Originally, the character who got shot in the beginning of the film's name was Randall Down. And
we thought that shit was hella clever.
We thought that was super clever. But I think we made a better choice. We added in this Blindspotting thread here in
also,
the 11th
we couldn't
hour.
clear the name Randall Down, so
Here we are.
you got to make choices.
Y'all, just so you know, just trying to be candid with y'all, it's our opening night of this film. We've been drinking all day. So we're really happy to be here, but we're not going to be too poignant and sophisticated right now. God damn it, we're in celebration.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So I've read that this, you probably just said it too, but this movie's been 10 years in the making. But I thought it was really interesting how it first came about because someone saw you on YouTube and they were like, I think you have a movie in you. Is that correct?
Yeah. Our one of our producers, Jess Calder, came about my sort of poetry and music videos on YouTube 12 years ago, and was interested in heightened language being the spine of a film. So she slid in my DMs. Like y'all didn't know YouTube had DMs. This is way before Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah. It's the dark ages of YouTube.
It's the dark ages of YouTube. And I thought I was getting catfished, but we ended up hanging out.
She's like 2 years older than us.
2 years older. I was like, when you're like 19, you're like, who's this 22-year-old? It's way out of my league. No, but we met up and we talked about this idea. A few years later, I introduced him to David while we were still trying to figure this out, and we decided on doing a film in verse about the Bay Area, and then right around that time, Oscar Grant was killed at Fruitvale Station. Mm-hmm. The conversation that was happening in the town was very interesting to
Jasmine
us.
Cephas Jones, ladies and gentlemen. In a Prince shirt and a sweatpants. God, I love you.
Styling on him. But yeah, that was our sort of catalyst point, was let's tell a story about Oakland, let's talk about the conversation that's happening in the city. And that kicked us off.
Now, Oakland is having a bit of a moment because coming down, I see Sorry to Bother You is playing over here. The Jen movie is coming out. What do you guys think about having this film now as a celebration of Oakland?
Yeah, it's just lit. It's really, I mean, is anybody from the Bay in here? So, we've been ready. Like, we had stories on deck. It's nice, you know what I mean? So it's nice that everybody caught up. But I've been drinking whiskey, so I'm like slightly, I'm like angrier.
We're
than usual
struggling,
tonight.
guys.
But no, it's I think
The next
it's-
question will be for Jazz.
Yeah, good call.
Send that down the line. Jasmine, you been drinking at home?
You know. I just moved, okay, like 4 days ago, so you know.
All the champagne.
We're on the Daily Show tonight. If you guys get home in time, we're sober there. We're sober on the Daily Show.
You were.
Yeah,
I
ish.
But really, I think Oakland has there's a thing there, right? If you talk to anybody who's from the Bay Area, we talk about that shit all the time, and you hate us for it. But like there is something that all of us believe is very special about that place, very unique about that place. Yeah, those of you who are New Yorkers, I'm sure you feel the same way about New York because it is special, it is unique. The interesting thing to us has always been like, if 3 movies about New York come out in the same year, nobody's like, New York is having a moment right now.
Yeah, no, it's true.
You know
No
what I'm
one's
saying?
does.
So
New York's having a regular year.
yeah. That's probably a slow year for New York. So so it's nice. It's nice that people are recognizing the Bay. But the nicer thing to me is that things are shooting in the Bay, and that I hope that all of these smaller sort of Bay Area cities are developing an infrastructure in order to make this process easier. Because there's an interesting aspect of anti-gentrification that comes along with shooting something in a place, is that if part of the cultural currency of a place is the look of it, then you are investing in the people who are already there, right? And so the more the way that Oakland looks right now can become part of what they are selling, the less they are likely to change it. Also, the more we can broadcast the culture. This is the interesting thing. We had like a brief moment called the hyphy era, right? Which for us was so foundational and important. And y'all heard Tell Me When to Go, and we're like, that's a crazy song. That's what Oakland's about. But for us, that was like the end of probably like 8 or 9 years of an incredible vibe and scene and music. And that kind of national attention did something to that place. All of a sudden, there was like this cultural currency there that was marketable, and the local radio stations were playing local music. Clear Channel radio stations were playing Bay Area music all the time. So that there was an investment in the culture that was being created in the Bay, and films do much the same thing, right? In some ways. So I'm excited for things to shoot in the Bay, because it is beautiful. We do have a bazillion stories and they're stories that are different than are often seen in mainstream Hollywood because of what a diverse place it is, because of the socio-political history there, because of how educated it is with proximity to UC Berkeley and Mills College and the history of the Black Panther Party. There are a bunch of, it is a very well-read place. And so all of these things I think lend themselves to stories, and I'm excited about the prospect of the investment in the history of the place as opposed to the newness of the place.
Thank you for that education. Thank you. Jasmine, Blindspotting really is about this, bromance between Miles and Collins. But as Ashley, you really hold it down. What was it like playing this character? And I really love that scene and the vulnerability you share when your son, your character's son, is, playing with a gun. Can you talk about that?
I mean, playing Ashley is a dream. It was written by my close friends, and I got to play with my close friends, and they allowed me to bring my ideas to the table. And between the two of them and Carlos, I just felt so comfortable that I could just completely just let go and lend my ideas. And when I felt delirious, I was just like, I just let go. And that scene, to get into that scene, I just sat at a table for a half an hour by myself, and something just came over me. I almost like blacked out a little bit, and I can't really, I just got full of emotion, and I like started shaking, and I couldn't grasp myself for a moment. And I was like holding Ziggy while I was crying so much, to the point where he got like a little startled. But being in that city and catching the vibe and the musicality of how the people talk, it was just amazing. And after I read that script, I immediately, I was like, I know Ashley. I know these people. So it wasn't really hard for me to kind of get into that world. And a few days before we started shooting, Rafa brought me to the parade because the Warriors just won.
That was the second of 3.
Yeah, it's it happens so much, it's hard to keep track. So we wanted to make sure you knew which one it was.
And I just hung around with all of his friends that night, and I just tried to get down the accent and, you know, that little like Southern twang that you guys have. And I didn't want to be a Brooklyn girl, you know, up there. I wanted to be very believable. And Raf and David just helped me along the way. And, you know, it's a dream to play with your friends and for it to be good.
Yeah.
Too. Like
She did that though. There's in that she's so town. She's so damn town in this film, and I've known Jasmine for a while now, and she's so Brooklyn, but she's so town in that movie. And there's that one during the where they're celebrating Colin's with their little dinner party. You know, she's like, Colin, you finna smoke with your friend here? Woo! We had to stop taping. Me and Rafa were too turned on to continue. That was some Bay ass shit.
We're gonna open it up for Q&A, but before we do that, you guys talked about working with friends. How much of the movie are people you already knew besides the director?
So much.
so many people they knew. They were
Yeah, like all, you know, and every time it'd be like, 50, 100 people in the background of a shot. It's just everyone in our phones.
Yo,
Pull
every
up,
day
here's
it'd be
the
like,
address.
yo,
We doing a
blah, blah's
movie.
coming. This guy's coming.
Yeah, but it speaks to kind of what we think of as a addressable problem in Hollywood, right? We would give direction like we need a bunch of black folks with dreadlocks, right? And casting directors just wouldn't have them as extras on file. You know what I'm saying? So we actually had to call our friends in order for the scenes to look authentic. You know what I'm saying? Because they would send us pictures of people and we'd be like, where the fuck are they from? They're not from West Oakland, you know? So like, you know, that is, but it's not, we were thinking about this a lot at the time, is there are some sort of systemic issues with that. And when you get filmmakers who are really dedicated to the authenticity of a thing, you run up against this thing all the time, and then oftentimes the filmmaker gets called out for making a choice that was inauthentic. But if you're relying on a casting director who doesn't have the necessary people in their Rolodex, that's a systemic issue. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a problem with that. There's a fascinating sort of supply and demand problem in Hollywood a lot of times, where we go in the meetings all the time, like, we are struggling to find like new, young, urban voices, and it's like, how? I could show you 200 people who've been sending you scripts, like people just banging on the door, you know. So there's a disconnect, and I don't fully understand it yet, but we are trying to figure it out, and a lot of filmmakers are trying to figure it out, and so that was an interesting problem to run into, you know.
Cool. All right, who has a question?
Hi, thank you guys for making this, and thank you for continuing to put out art. A huge fan ever since, Get Back Mixtape Volume 1, and
whoa,
like
you had
bro just
media
name dropped our mixtape from like 9 years ago.
It was crazy to see Watsky up there. That Shinaka was gonna play knock, like that was crazy, and
where are you going with this?
I'm really nervous because like I'm such a huge fan of you guys, but I'm in love with the albums that you're putting out, the EPs, and I want to know, what was it like to work with some Bay Area rap icons, and will you guys tour? I've been dying to see you guys perform music live for 8-9 years now, and will that ever happen in the future, and will you guys continue to put out music? My name is Mikkel, by the way.
I'm sure we will perform music again. We've been doing it in sort of one-off style, right? We perform with friends of ours when they ask. Maura Pinderhughes, who's another Bay kid, but who lives out here now, throws shows occasionally, and anytime occasionally we'll do shows and we'll just throw up the bat symbol and be like, whoever can come out, and Jazzy will be there and Anthony Ramos will be there. And
Sundance.
we did it at
It's like
Sundance.
Whole squad's here.
We
Let's
got down at
do a
Sundance.
show.
At Sundance, when this film premiered, TNT made the mistake of saying we could perform at the party they were having after their screening of
We invited everyone.
Yeah. Anyway,
We're like, oh yeah, you gonna turn the mics on? Cool. Bad signal. Everyone show up. You got a song, you got a rap verse you wrote, you can spit it at the TNT party because they done fucked up. We had a blast.
Literally what happened.
It was great. We just let everyone up there. Friends of ours were popping up like, hey man, we're like, yo, you want to do something? They fucked up.
Think like Oak flew in
to
from
be
a
fair,
day.
I work for TNT now, so they cool.
They loved it. No, they loved it.
Everybody
It was
watched
so
Snowpiercer
fun.
on TNT
Everybody
when
watched
that shit comes
Snowpiercer.
out,
TNT. David's in it.
No, but
Releasing a mixtape, basically.
yeah, so this soundtrack is happening in 3 installments. The first of one, the Colin EP, is out already on all of your favorite streaming services. And working with Bay Area artists, I mean, that it was great. It gets better as it goes on. Actually, you know, there's when we were asking folks to record those verses, the film wasn't out yet. No one had seen it. Now we had this premiere in the Bay where everyone who already contributed music to the film came. And so now it's a little bit easier to reach out in the Bay, and folks are like, oh yeah, I know what that is. I know what this is, you know, but that's part of it. The Bay Area has always been a pretty supportive place of each other in a lot of ways. It's also, you know, kind of dismaying sometimes because it's not like we were offering huge fees for these things, but still you get the impression that these are larger fees than they are, and more on time than they are being paid for a lot of the work that they're doing. These are incredibly talented people, you know, who are so excited to be getting a check before they send the thing in, you know? And so another reason that film can create interesting infrastructure, and that we're always excited to bring it to the Bay and to prop up some of the real legends. You know, the first EP alone has E40 on it, has Mr. Fab on it. Who else is on the thing? Mo Green is on it. Kiana Lede is on it. Trust Jasmine will be on it. We're working on Pilo. But yeah, so you know, it's great. It's great that they all sent in verses, and we're excited to work on it, and yeah, and we'll keep it coming. Look out for the Miles EP. I can't tell you when, even though we've said it before, but that one is probably not true. So, because it's a rap project, so ignore release dates.
Hi. You guys have been working together since, like you said in the film, Calvin and Hobbes. That's been a long time. So staying on the theme of friendship, can you speak a little bit about collaborating with your friends for so long?
That's a deep cut. You dropped a mixtape from 9 years ago. You just called out Calvin and Hobbes from YouTube? God damn.
That's what I know.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, we've if are there artists in the room here? I'd imagine a fair amount of people in here are artists, musicians, writers, painters, poets. Yeah, you find collaborators. If you're lucky, it's plural. But you find a collaborator or collaborators that share your common value, your common love for art, and believe in you 100%, believe in your potential 100%, give you the benefit of the doubt, and want to see your art follow through. And most importantly, when you call and ask them to do some crazy shit with you, they're like, for sure, what time? You ride for those people. You ride for those people nonstop. You know, it's really easy to be in the arts and want to reach up and try to get hold of people who are further along in their careers and try to use that as a way to work up the ladder. But I think we figured out early on that there's so much more power in developing and nurturing relationships and art with your peers and your friends. And because the thing that's uncertain is the success. And the definition of that will change every time you get something. You'll be like, oh, that doesn't feel the way that I thought it would work. The satisfaction always comes from creating something you love with people you fuck with. Always. Like, me and Diggs did so, like, that Calvin and Hobbes thing you just mentioned. Like, we did a web series where we played grown-up versions of Calvin and Hobbes. It's really good. You should check it out. But nobody watched it until 3 years after we did it. We did it for fun, and we put it up, and 1,000, 2,000 people watched each one, and it was great. But we had a blast doing it, and we thought it was hilarious because it's Diggs in a giant tiger pimp coat. Fucking hilarious.
It's a good look.
It's a good look. You know, but it was enough to get it done and be proud of the thing that we did and hope that some people saw it. You know, that's where the payoff was. And so I think we've learned over time that we don't know how this movie is going to do. We don't know. We're so happy that you're all here. This is already a blessing beyond anything we could have possibly imagined. But the love and the fun of it was just getting to do it. And get to do it with people that we deeply care about and that we want to see excel in the work that they're most excited about. And so we just try to do that again and again.
And you like pick up family as you go on, right? We didn't grow up knowing Jasmine, but me and Jasmine did a play together, and then
Really small play, like.
And then, but now she's like family. Like I don't, you know what I'm saying? She's one of those people. We call and ask Jasmine to do dumb things, and she doesn't question them. She's like, yeah, okay. But and she's someone who we also know we can trust to always do the best work out, right? I can't wait for you to hear her music. Holy shit. And Carlos, the director of this, just shot a incredible fucking music video for her. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so that's how it works. You keep building family, and now we're family, and she's family, and they're family, and that's lovely. And it's the only way I've ever known to actually accomplish anything.
All right, thank you guys. As you know, Blindspotting is out.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
If you loved it, help us
Appreciate
spread
it.
the word. It's a small indie. We're trying to get the word out. We appreciate y'all. Help us amplify this and make this move. We appreciate y'all. Much love.